Pickle Palace? Is that the name of our...
Pete's Pickle Palace. Is that what you want to call it? Pete's Pickle Palace. We do need a name. We do need a name for this, but not just a name. We have to do introductions. At some point, maybe we'll shoot like a...
You good with your peacock hair?
Yeah, I don't care. So I got my... That bow is for you. Pretty little hair bow. We'll shoot like an intro, maybe. Maybe we do that later today in the backyard. Shoot like a little intro. But the introductions. We have to introduce ourselves. Hi.
Hi.
Who are you?
My name's Rebekah Hess. And I'm your wife, you lucky dog.
It's true. Not just a dog, but also SOB, I suppose. Mm-hmm. All right, my name is Scott. My last name is Hess. My voice does sound crazy.
Yeah, you do sound a little crazy.
I sound crazy because 2 nights ago, we went to... You know what? Why don't you explain what we did? What did we do Friday night?
Went to my nephew's basketball game. It was the district finals at Kirtland versus Kirtland, which is always a tough game. It's always a tough team to play. Kirtland's just one of our biggest rivals, so it's always just really intense. And we struggled a little bit with the refs. So
there was 3 refs total. 1 ref was calling for our team. The other 2 refs were calling against our team.
I think the one ref that you said was calling for our team, I think he was just calling the game really well. I think he did a good job just calling the game in general, but
that's fair. I normally do not get
passionate.
No, it's high school sports. I know it means a lot to the kids. I didn't really go to high school. Sure, we can dig into that at some point. But yeah, it's important to them. Whatever, as a spectator, I'm there to cheer for whoever we're there to see, because we go to games for all kinds of kids at this point. But I don't usually get mixed up with the refs, because that's your job.
I do it so well.
You're the one that gets passionate. You've coached sports, high school level, junior Olympics level for volleyball. That was cool. Mm-hmm. So I'm usually just there to be, I don't know, your voice of reason, I suppose. But on Friday, I decided to partake for whatever reason. I was feeling it. And I was screaming at the top of my lungs. And that's not normal. As a matter of fact, I don't talk very loud, usually. I don't have to. My voice is deep, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't think about it, but you pointed that out to me while we were doing tests for this. And I don't sing in the car. I don't...
Again, that's me.
Yep. So I guess I've got about 30 minutes of yelling in me before I lose my voice box.
Yes.
Completely.
It's all right. It takes practice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use it. I talk a lot when I'm comfortable, cursive being me.
Yeah.
But when I'm not comfortable, I don't talk a lot, which is more often than not, if you were to weigh it out. Usually we're around people, and I don't do that very well unless I'm getting paid. So I keep my mouth shut for the most part. And yeah, so hopefully doing this little exercise here, maybe this will help me out, and I'll talk more.
There you go.
So throughout the course of our relationship, how long? Almost 5 years, right?
I don't know, when we turned 30.
Okay, so 4 years.
4 years.
4 years, almost exactly.
So we met on my 30th birthday.
Yeah, I just turned 34.
I'm rolling up on
2
34,
weeks ago.
pretty hot here.
You're going to be 34 in a month. I actually don't want to talk about that yet. I'm going to get into that in a minute. Or got a couple list of things to talk about here, but let's do it. Let's do the 34 thing first.
Why not? I always said they'd go in order.
That's true. It's true. There's no rules there. So we met your 30th birthday. I had just turned 30. 2 years later, we got married. 4 years now. Throughout the course of our relationship, we've had little weekly meetings. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't, but we go over finances and we go over the week and talk about all the things that we didn't get to talk about this week because we don't see each other very often. Mm-hmm. Either you work days, I work nights, or you work days, I work ridiculous hours that are long. Your schedule's pretty tight as a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. You know, it depends on what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just doing our weekly meetings like we used to, I thought it would be cool to record them.
Why not?
That's what we're doing here. As far as turning 34, I wanted to talk about how I've never really been affected so much by my age, by my birthday. It doesn't really affect me.
Mm-hmm.
This one's affecting me. Yesterday we had a birthday party for my sister, one of my sisters. She's turning 50. Happy birthday, Kelly.
Shout out, Kelly.
That being said, I tried to have a conversation with her about how this turning 34 is affecting me. You know, 18, you can vote, you can join the military, 21, you can drink, 25, you can rent a car, and then that's it. After that, there's no significance other than what you attach to a birthday.
Right.
When I turned 30, I thought maybe that would affect me in some way. It didn't. I still feel like a child, you know, or did then. Over the last couple of years, I've, I guess, put myself through the ringer and aged a little bit, mentally and physically. But this birthday's been weird, and I was having trouble personifying it yesterday, or whatever, putting words to it. Today, I can put words to it because of what happened to me this morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's important to note that yesterday I was helping out one of the brothers at his house. He's got a new baby coming, and they're putting flooring in to move child number 2 into a spare room so that child number 3 can go into the old room, you know, that room.
The nursery, yeah.
Yeah, what
so
is
they
it?
have to redo the nursery.
Yeah, exactly. And when you do floors, you have to pull up old carpet. You have to, you know, deal with the subfloor underneath. You have to. It's just dusty. I had like an allergy attack or something. So I was feeling miserable, but I don't do floors that often anymore. So being on my hands and knees for, you know, that long and putting the floors down, I knew I was going to be sore today.
Yeah.
So when I woke up this morning, my brain woke up before my body. Now that might sound weird, so I'll do my best to describe it.
Which, though, for you, it's usually the other way around. Like, it takes a while for your brain to, like, wake up. Because there's times you'd be like, oh, I'm not awake yet. So
Yeah.
I think that was interesting that it was vice versa this morning.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It just depends on the day. But every once in a while, my brain will wake up before my body. What that means is I will wake up and I'll open my eyes, and then it's not like sleep paralysis. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
It's not like that. I'll just be, like this morning, I was just staring at the ceiling and didn't, you know, pick up my phone or go over or get a drink or whatever I do right when I wake up. I just stare at the ceiling. And you know that sleep technique we've talked about before where you start with your toes, curl your toes, you wiggle your feet a little bit. And
You could, like, not stress out, I guess, but, like, flex and relax to get your muscles to, like, slow down so that they actually go to sleep.
Yeah, and you go all the way up through your body, up
Yep.
and down, back around.
I might do that on my sleep app.
Okay, cool. So that happened to me this morning in reverse. First, I guess I felt like my toes. I was like, oh. And then it was the next muscle group up, like the bottom of my legs, and then it came up. And it was just an interesting, this was by no means by design. This is just how I woke up this morning. It was interesting that my body slowly woke itself up. And I could feel it, and then I could move or whatever. And then the pain started to set in. So I've got some stuff between my shoulder blades and my spine. What do they call it?
Degenerative.
Disc disorder. Thank you. So that there's like no cartilage back there really anymore, and it slide around.
Bone
It's
on
easy.
bone.
Yeah, it's easy for me to pop a disc, and it sucks. I also have a labral tear in my shoulder that I've been dealing with for a long time. So when I wake up when I woke up this morning, I started to feel pain in my neck, and then it spread out to my shoulders, and then it went down into my arms, like here, because I was on my hands and knees yesterday doing the floor, and then I started my knees, pain in my knees. I didn't wear knee pads yesterday, stupid, so my knees were swollen today a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. This is normal.
Right,
I get
but
it.
you're 34 now.
Well, that's the thing, is
Yeah.
that, like, that's the thing. I used to be, if I had a rough day yesterday, doing whatever I do, riding my skateboard or,
Right.
whatever I'm doing, the next day I wake up and I'm just sore, automatically sore. And now, or at least this morning, but it's kind of what I've been talking about. That's fun.
That's alright.
Barking dogs.
It's life.
This morning it was as if my body was slower than my brain, and my body did myself a favor. My nervous system did myself a favor by waking up my body first before I felt the pain set in from yesterday. And I can't remember that ever happening. Like I said, it's usually I wake up all at once and it's whatever, but I think I'm starting to feel my age for the first time in my life, and I'm having trouble with this. And I think it's because the last 2 years, I focused on nothing but the restaurant, which we'll get into at some point, but not today. And I neglected everything else. I neglected this room that we're sitting in. Our relationship struggled a little bit, and I didn't take care of my health. I wasn't exercising. I did stop riding my skateboard almost completely, which is not like me at all. I've been riding that thing my whole life.
Right.
And now I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. We're eating healthy again, and I'm taking care of myself. I'm exercising, I'm riding my skateboard. Got a little jump rope that I've been using, which just sucks, to be honest.
The worst.
Jump rope
It's
sucks.
the worst thing for you. Like, literally the worst exercise.
It's gonna be
but
good.
It's a full body exercise, and you only need like a solid 10 minutes. Like, it's insane.
It's gonna be good eventually.
It's so beneficial, but it's the
I hate
absolute
it.
worst.
I hate it. Jump rope right now.
You should try to do double jumps.
Stop.
I did that when
No,
when I was at Burn boot camp in Beechwood. One of the exercises sometimes was jump roping, and like it was double jumps. Like you were supposed to try to do double jumps. And there was one time where I got 3 double jumps in a row, and I was like, "This is the best day of my life." I felt so successful.
I'm having trouble just jump roping.
Yeah.
Literally, like it's not. First of all, I bought a 10-pound jump rope, which I don't know anything about jump ropes. I just figured if I grabbed the heaviest one that they had there, because of my body size, like it'd be good for me. I'm not sure that was a good idea, but so each one, I don't know if each one weighs 5 pounds or each one weighs 10 pounds.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, but they're definitely. I mean, it's not heavy, but it's heavy enough that after 3 minutes, I'm like, I'm dying.
When you first grab it, you're like, "Oh, this is nothing," and then it's like,
so anyway,
big deal.
Yeah. The point is, I think I neglected my body for 2 years, and now that I'm trying to whip it back into shape, I'm really I'm not suffering, but I'm dealing with the repercussions of that because now I'm older.
Right.
And this is the first time in my life that this has ever crossed my mind, ever been an issue. I injure myself regularly, if I'm doing tree work with Nicholas or I'm working restaurant stuff, if I'm riding my skateboard or it's wintertime, riding a snowboard, whatever, I like to, for lack of a better word, eat shit. It's not that I like to do it, it's just part of my life. I crash and burn, and I've broken my ankle with you once.
Yep, New Year's Day or
New Year's Eve. I broke my ribs. This is different though.
That's rough.
It sucks.
We have a friend going through rib stuff right now. That's just.
Breaking my ribs is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life.
I couldn't imagine.
It's the worst. It is the worst pain out of all of my injuries and surgeries and being laid up for this or that and the other. The last time I broke this rib was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life.
Man.
But anyway, I don't want to say that it sucks. Like, oh, I'm 34. I'm starting to feel my age, and this sucks. It doesn't suck. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never had anything. This has never happened to me before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always on the move. I'm always on the go.
Right.
And if I have the aches and pain, like the shoulder, or what, I just keep it moving. But now it's like hindering my ability to do things. And this morning, waking up like that was just. It was surreal. It's almost like a dream, but I was awake.
Yeah.
Once my body's, once I started to feel the pain everywhere, like my knees and my arms, my shoulders, I was like, well, I'm awake now. And that's when I, picked up my phone and started going through the morning routine. But I'm having trouble with this. Your birthday's coming up. How's your body? How are you
so
doing?
Excited. Well, I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I mean, I'm working out. I wake up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I wake up the same time every day because of the dogs, but I get to school early and I lift in the weight room by myself sometimes, unless Mr. Hooper's in there, but that's like few and far between, and he works out the lights off, and it freaks me out every time he's in there because I don't know he's there. But for the most part, I mean, beginning of November was it maybe? Yeah, beginning of November. I've been working out 3 days a week at the school, lifting. I feel like, you know me, I'm like more of a, like, I need to go to a class, I need somebody else there to push me to make sure I'm actually doing the work. Yeah. But at the same time, there's so many parts of the workout that I hate, that I like don't give it my all when I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So for me to be able to go and be like, oh, it says for you to do push-ups, well, I'm gonna do something different instead. Like, and to be able to choose what I want to do, I think I'm actually better off that way. Like, I'm doing a lot more, I'm lifting a lot more. I'm not in it to change my body. I'm pretty comfortable with who I am. I'm pretty much there just for like my mental state of mind. It kind of steps me up for the day.
If I can, there's a big difference. You when you're working out regularly, you when you're not working out regularly. Right. There's a big difference. Like not so much physical, just about how you deal with your problems at work or your problems at here, or how you deal with your life in general.
Well, and drinking and working out makes me drink more water, which is a huge thing when it comes to like decision making and stuff. I mean, people have told you, oh, drink water. They like don't tell you, like, it chemically changes your brain when you're hydrated. It's a game changer. So I've been doing a lot of that too, so that's helpful. But I don't know. I don't feel like I'm 34. I feel like I'm like 26 maybe. I mean, I can't go out like I was 26. No. I'll tell you that. No way. Recovery is like 3 days now in your 30s. But when I turned 30, like you said, it didn't change. It wasn't a big year for you. That was a big year for me because that was the year I was like turning 30 and I was single, and I'd always said, you know, if I'm single at 30, I'm just gonna have a baby by myself. And so that was a big year. And then that same birthday, literally the day of, I met you, which is real annoying. I'm just kidding. I was ready.
Yeah, we'll talk about the origins of how we met at some point in the future. It's a good story, though. It's a good story.
Yeah, but no, I feel good. You know, I mean.
Feel good.
Yeah, my back always hurts, but that's a given.
Yeah, you go back to high school.
Right. So I don't really have a choice there.
Yeah. It's a fun game. Maybe next time we put the dogs in the crate before we start recording.
Nah, they're fine. It's just people. I have the door open now. It's a beautiful day. Nice breeze.
Yeah. We got a little agenda here.
Mm-hmm.
Intros. Talked about our little weekly meeting. Talked about turning 34.
Well, and also to be fair, the last 7 years, I've been having my birthday in Florida, so that's been a really big help for my birthday.
Like going down to see.
Like I go down and see Holly almost every time I'm down there on my birthday, and my birthday's usually on spring break, so it's nice.
Yeah, true. That's right. We're doing that this year. We're going down there for spring break this year. Did we go last year?
No.
I was working.
Yes.
Did you go by yourself?
No. I was going to, but I was ovulating, so.
Oh.
I stayed home.
Well, I suppose that's a good segue into the next conversation.
Yeah.
I want to start this one though.
Go ahead.
All right. We're titling this section PSA Babies. Public Service Announcement. Babies. I just completely lost my train of thought. I wanted to start this in a certain way. Oh, I got it. Okay, so I have a problem with the way the world operates. Now, everything I say that is my opinion, it's my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm willing to, go back and and forth about it, but this is something that I believe in strongly. I believe in this strongly because I've dealt with this. You know, we're going to dive into our childhood, I suppose, at some point, but my mother had cancer basically throughout my entire life. Started when I was 5 or 6, and then she died when I was 21. She passed away when I was 21. And we dealt with it almost the entire time. There was a little break in between of, you know, remission. It was really cool back then. Like, we were going to Maple View Church at the time, and the church community, all my aunts and uncles came through and helped our family, because at that point it was just me. It was just my father, my mother, and me. Nicholas was still kind of in and out of the house, but the other 3 siblings were way older than that even. 10-year gap between me and the next one. They're all beautifully 2.5, 3 years apart, like clockwork. So yeah, they were all old. By the time I'm 7, 8 years old, Nicholas is 18, and the rest of them are gone. You know? So it's cool that the point is just my dad, my mom, me, we're going through this. And at the time, my dad was a truck driver. He was doing long haul up and down the East Coast. He'd sometimes be gone for a week at a time. I think before that, even he was doing 2 weeks at a time. So it's dealing with a child while you're dealing with that stuff is difficult. So the community came through, and to the point where, like, we even right after, I think we had moved to a new house right before she got diagnosed the first time or whatever, but we put a whole second, like, we put an addition on the house. We built a second story, so there was more bedrooms. We redid all the roof. I remember my uncles and, you know, everybody coming through, church people to, like, help get this project done. We're, like, living in the camper in the driveway for a while. Just, you know, while we're fixing the house up, in the middle of winter, it was wild. It was wild. The point of the story is, I feel like people only really come together to give you help when you really need it. And unfortunately, when you really need it is when somebody is dying, basically. Somebody is, or has the real risk of dying, like cancer, for example. And I don't think that that's fair. No, life isn't fair. I'm not naive by any stretch of the means. I feel like when people have struggles of any kind, the community should come together. Now, you know me. I'm not a part of any community. Not really. I mean, I ride my skateboard. I've got some friends in the skateboard industry. Yeah. But I run solo, almost exclusively by myself all the time. I don't, you know, unless I'm at work, I'm obviously with other people. But if I'm not at work and I'm not with you, or I'm not on my skateboard, I am alone, always. So who am I to say a community wouldn't come through if we needed it for some reason? Right. So take all of that, and it's, you know, when people need it, people come through. When they don't need it, they don't come through. Yeah. That's just my opinion. Or maybe, as we collectively learn how to conversate correctly and how to speak our opinions and stuff, maybe we can get the opportunity to pull, you know, to be open with our emotions, our feelings, and rally for some help. Now this situation that we're about to dive into isn't a call for help. Actually, it's almost the exact opposite of that. Right. You and I have been trying to procreate for 2 years. Yep. And it's not going well. Nope. We've been to multiple doctors, multiple specialists. We've, you know, we're doing everything under the sun. It's affecting us in 2 very different ways, but it's a team effort here. So you wanted to talk about it. You wanted to talk to me about the things that bother you about this situation, and the things that bother you, it's not us, it's the community. Yeah. It's not that, it's not, I mean, obviously we have a part to play in it, but that's strictly based on emotions and opinions, you know, that those are hard to change. But, like myself, for example, I really struggle with, like, going places that have small babies or kids in general that are of a certain age. Like, obviously, like, you know, we're around my nieces and nephews and your nieces and nephews all the time, and your nieces and nephews' children, you know, so it's like, it's different, I guess, that way, you know, and I'm a teacher, I'm around 5th graders all day, so it's not that, it's the fact of the matter
that we're having such a hard time and we're trying so hard and it's something that we both want so much that sometimes even seeing a baby is just triggering to myself of like, it's not, maybe not triggering, maybe just questioning, like, why does that person get to be a mom and I don't? So that's something that like I'm trying to like actively like redirect my brain as to, it's not like, it's not a matter of if we become parents, it's a matter of when and how we get there. And so that not knowing which avenue we have to take to get there has been really frustrating. But then it's also becoming like, it's our small little town of Burton, and anybody who knows me, you know, knows that
everyone knows you, first of all.
Oh yeah, that's very true. That all I've ever wanted was to become a mom. Like that's just has always been the end game for me. I mean, we met and I was ready to do it by myself. So that's always been like my big thing, is that I've just always wanted to be a mom ever since my mom had Timothy and I treated him like a little baby and he was just my baby. And now I feel that way with, you know, all my nieces and nephews and watching them grow up and doing everything I could to be there for any part of their life. It's just been really hard for me to just not be able to do it myself. When you want something so hard, so bad, it's really frustrating when you can't just do it. Like, we went our whole life trying not to have kids.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody does that. You don't, you know, make sure you're using protection or this, that, and the other thing, and or, you know, abstinence is best. And it's like, now we want to, and we have to work harder. And the hardest part about it is it's so expensive. It's so expensive. And
what's expensive?
Getting to even have a baby.
Oh,
aside from having children and the expense that they are in general, it's taking all the steps that we have to take, that we're going to be taking, and you know, going that route. It just makes it really, really stressful, and that's not helpful. Mm-hmm. Like, especially for me, that's one of the things to say, is to not, you know, you can't be stressed. Okay, thanks. It's a great suggestion. But, and then on top of that, it's the hardest thing for me is because everybody knows that that's what I want. I get asked all the time, so when are you gonna have kids? When are you guys gonna have a baby? Do you have any plans to have kids? Yeah, we do, and we're trying. We're actively trying. And there are times where I'll tell people, yeah, we've been trying for 2 years, we can't have kids right now. Like, that I just say that to people so that they realize how inappropriate that comment is. Like, how inappropriate it is for you to ask me when I'm having a child. First of all, it's none of your business. Second of all, I am open about it. I have no problem sharing with anybody the struggles we're going through, because somebody else might be going through and it might not be able to share.
Right.
And they might be able to get, you know, some comfort that they're not alone.
You have a couple friends too, and family members, I guess, that were having difficulties having a child too.
Right, and I talk to them frequently.
But everybody that's on that list, as far as I know, we're the last ones left.
Yeah.
They got pregnant, mm-hmm. or they had a baby, or mm-hmm. everybody that we knew that was going through something similar as us. Mm-hmm. And it's just, now we're alone. Almost.
Now we're just like on this lonely island of just, hey, it's just us still trying. And people have asked me, like, well, what about adoption? Like, I have no problem. I would love to adopt someday. If that's our avenue, then that's our avenue. I have no problem with that. But I do want to, like, exhaust all of our options first. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to be able to have that experience of carrying a child and, you know, birthing a child of us. You know,
I'm all for that too. Obviously, I come from a blended family. You know?
Right.
My oldest brother, both my sisters adopted, and I say that rarely. I don't think of them that way. I never have.
Right.
Those are my siblings.
And
that's all I know, and that's all I'll ever know. And you know, that's only relevant now because it's relevant to the conversation. But,
right.
But yeah, I come from that actually. That's my half of over half of my family is in that situation. So I've always been pro like the adoption route. There's other things too, but as far as that goes, just real quick before we get back on that with the adoption thing, I've been trying to be positive about that and feed it into our lives slowly, a little bit at a time. I don't know if you're picking up on it or not. Maybe this is the first time that I'm saying it to you like out loud, but I've been sending you little videos here and there of people that I find, that I didn't know that their kids were adopted, or sometimes it's obvious, different skin tone, different nationality, whatever it is. But I've been kind of slowly feeding that kind of information. Like you said, it's not a backup plan. That's not what that is. But we're really trying to exhaust options first.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think what's really hard for me, and this is going to sound super selfish, and I apologize that it does, but I'm just being blunt here. I get really frustrated when I see, now that we're on our lonely island, all the other people getting pregnant. And it's not that I'm not happy for them. I'm obviously ecstatic that it worked for them. And I'm so happy that they were able to do that. But it just really just is like, what are we doing? Like, what are we not doing? What's going on? Like, why isn't this working for us? Which leads me to the other comments that I've gotten. Oh, it'll happen when it happens. It'll happen when you least expect it. Oh, it'll happen when you stop trying. That one's my favorite. Or it's like, but you don't know that. Like, people don't know that. And I don't need to hear that. I know what's going to happen. We know we will be parents someday. That's not negotiable. Like, it will happen. I don't need that. I need wow, I'm really sorry you're going through that. Like, I'll say it. I need the sympathy. I need somebody to be empathetic and sympathetic towards our situation. I don't need advice. We're getting that from doctors. Yeah. I don't need to know what position I need to be doing this in. I'm getting that from doctors. Like, I know the medication I'm on. We are doing everything we can, and yes, that might have worked for you, but fertility is different, so different for every single couple. Just because it works for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for the next.
Right.
And with IUI being our next route, now it's just become a source of timing.
Yeah.
And scheduling. I mean, to get into the fertility doctor, it's like a 2-month wait.
Yeah.
Just to get in. And then it's like insurance doesn't cover it, which is interesting to me. I think that's interesting because it is a medical issue.
But it's elective, fortunately.
That's true.
I was talking to, I don't remember, somebody the last couple of days about this, and we're talking about insurance specifically and what's covered and what's not covered. Luckily with you in the school, we've got the best insurance basically that's available to anybody because you're a state employee, whatever, technically. So that's nice, but it doesn't. Yeah, if it's elective or it only covers a certain portion or whatever, and even seeing, we've talked to the fertility specialist, right? We talked to one. Okay, but getting in for an actual appointment, like you said, not only is it a timing, like a knowing by timing frame, but we've had multiple turn us away. They don't take new patients.
Right.
Thought that was
many.
Thought that was interesting. And then, once we do get in there, the insurance only covers a piece of that, and it's expensive. It's not a joke. It's not like, oh, we just need a couple $500. It's like we're in the thousands of dollars now.
Right.
For every single thing we do from here on out, it's going to be thousands of dollars for each step, and that's multiple, not one, two. It depends on what the thing is, but it's exponential jump from what we've been dealing with to now.
Right.
Yeah.
And so my PSA in general is, maybe I do need to have some tougher skin. But when we've been going through this for 2 years and I'm on Clomid that makes me an emotional basket case, and I don't have a choice, I have to be on it, but also I'm an educator and I'm with children all day long and some adults that are also like that. I could blow at any point. And so I have to make sure when I'm on Clomid, I have to physically either leave the room, thank goodness for my co-teacher because I've done this frequently on her, either just walk out of the room because I'm having some type of emotional reaction to something, or just literally with some of my kids, I'm just like, we're all going to take some deep breathing. We're just going to stop and breathe real quick because like I need to get through this moment, and I need to make sure that my kids aren't like, what's wrong with our teacher? She's a psychopath. So, because I'm obviously not sharing my experience with them, but
oh yeah, 12.
right. So it's like it's been a ride.
Yeah.
And so I just, yes, I do need to probably have some tougher skin, and you know, I can't help what people say and what people do, what people ask, but I can try to steer them in the right question of, hey, let's not be asking women when they're gonna have babies or when they're gonna get pregnant or what their plan is, because 10 times out of 10, nobody's plan works out. And it's not fair for us to continually to have to answer that question. And stop telling me it's going to happen when it happens.
The positivity is not positive. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's not. It's not comforting. It's not positive. It's not constructive. Like, it just makes me think, like, of course you can say that. You have 4 beautiful babies. Like,
so if I'm gonna
just leave me alone.
If I can pipe in real quick.
Yeah.
Speaking of this imaginary person, you telling me, oh, they have 4 kids.
No, literally.
Between the 2 families, your family, my family, there are children everywhere. Everywhere. All ages, all types, shapes, sizes. There's so many children everywhere, and everyone is. At least in our age range, everybody's pumping out babies
left and right.
Like it's their job. Sounds silly, but the problem is, it's not just like everybody's having babies around us. It's okay. So we get invited to something, a birthday party. Who cares? It doesn't matter what it is. Some family function. We get there and there's going to be toddlers. There's going to be newborns. No matter where we go, no matter what it's for. And this is affecting us in different ways. But for you, even being in that room and watching these new mothers or these, now it's around to number 2, or it doesn't matter. But
right.
They're new mothers in the sense that they have a new baby.
Yeah.
It's hard for you to be in that room, to physically be in that room. So if you invite us somewhere and we show up and we leave early, just know.
I'm not going to apologize for that.
No,
but I'm just
know, like, we love you. We're going to come to your thing.
But we're going through some stuff.
But very, very specifically right now, everywhere we go, there's babies.
Mm-hmm.
And
I feel like they're monitoring me.
And that's crazy. They're not.
I know that. But that I'm just trying to put that in perspective. Like, that's what it feels like sometimes. It's like, oh, look, there's another one. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's, okay, again, I don't mean that like in a negative, like, I'm so happy for the people that have their kiddos. Like, I'm so glad that they, get to enjoy this experience and this ride, and they've worked so hard for it.
And before anybody, pipes up and says anything about therapy.
Been there.
Doing that too.
Doing it.
Yep, individually and as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing everything, literally everything we can to get through this.
And we got all our praying people on it too. Ruth Goff. You need something done, you just have Ruth pray for it. But even, I have prayer people at school I go to that are in the elementary wing. I go to frequently with anything. And I know that they make the list. I have all my cousins, all the kids I grew up with, their moms, Aunt Cindy, Aunt Karen, all of them. They all know. They're all praying. It's not like it's...
Right. But it's the comments in
the comments
in public. It's when we have to go places for parties and stuff.
Yeah.
It's, one of the things that I think affects us in a similar way, since we're dealing with this in different ways. But one of the things that drives me wild is when we go out somewhere public, like just the grocery store. Go to the grocery store, or we're going shopping for some reason, and you see kids, little ones, like under the age of 5, like misbehaving. Normal kids are under the, and what even is misbehaving? I don't know. I'm not a dad. I'm gonna figure that out when we get there. But when you're in public and there's a little kid that's throwing a fit for whatever reason, What drives me wild at this point in our journey is when that parent, it behaves in a negative way. Look, I'm not a parent. I don't know how you deal with that. And I'll figure it out when we get there. We'll figure it out when we get there. But it seems from the outside like that some of these parents are ungrateful for these kids.
Which is also really frustrating too.
Which is really frustrating.
My kids did this, I can't believe it, or I have this sport and this sport and this sport and this sport, we're not going to be home all day. Like,
these are problems
I give my left arm for that.
These are problems that we want.
Right.
And perspectives shift as you go.
Right. I'm sure there will be days where we're just like, whoo, Nelly, this is a lot.
Right. But that's the thing that drives me crazy is when you see somebody who that child is a problem for them.
Yeah.
And like at this point in our life, that's the best problem to have. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem that we want. Mm-hmm. And it just sucks when we have to go places and deal with this everywhere. We deal with it every time we go to any family function, every time we go to any social get together, basically.
Right.
Any outing of any kind that's outside of the four walls of our house.
This is not a please don't invite us to
that's
we want to come, we want to see your kids, we want to celebrate life with you, and we want to enjoy that.
Yeah.
But please don't be offended when we leave early.
We stay there until you can't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
And then we leave.
And you're really good about that.
I try
up on me and making sure I'm okay.
I try to be in tune. I'm your number one fan, you know? And I try to be in tune with what you got going on, and it's beneficial to me that you, maybe I just know you so well, but you wear your heart on your sleeve, wholly. I mean, I could look you in the eyes and know exactly what's going on immediately, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Who knows, maybe a year from now we'll be doing this again, and I will be pregnant.
Or it'll be a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Something's happening.
Yeah.
Sooner than later. I mean, we're at the point now where
now it's just honestly. I mean, we're being blunt. Honestly, it's just financially.
Well,
that's the hardest part right now. It's just a lot. It's a lot of money, and it's a lot of hope. It's a lot of hope for the amount of money it is. You know what I mean?
Does that make sense? You have to. It's a gamble.
Yeah.
Now.
And you're not a gambler.
I do not gamble.
You only gamble with your life.
I don't gamble with my money. I don't.
You know what I mean? So that's that's the hardest part.
It's funny that I have all these little sayings like I don't gamble with my money. I only gamble with my life. That's why I like to ride my skateboard or go do tree work where I'm putting myself into harm's way. That's not the point. You're not trying to put yourself in harm's way, right? But it's funny that I say that kind of stuff. But it's true, yeah. I don't like to gamble. I don't even buy lottery scratch up tickets. I think that's a waste of my money. 100%. Well, but that's the point. So now we're at the point where in this fertility journey, we're at the point where everything we do from here on out costs money to have a hope to hang your hat on.
Yeah, it's exactly. And that's tough.
If I had a hat right now on an imaginary hook and it cost me money to hang it there, is it going to stay?
We don't know.
It sounds ridiculous.
It does.
But that's the life we're in.
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. With all the love. Seems like a good place to end it.
Yeah.